Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Meant to Be Monday. I'm your host, Paul Turner, and today I want to talk about those other sheep that are not from your fold. So what do I mean by sheep from another fold? Well, I'm talking about those kids that come into your youth group that are from another youth group, right? And so it could be from a kid from that's maybe just across town, or maybe from a church right across the street. You don't really know. But so the question then is, we ask, well, what do I do with this kid, and how committed are they to the youth ministry they just came from? Are they specking us out? Where does this kind of go on? Where does this change happen, if any? And what does the process look like? And so today I want to share with you just a few thoughts on what to do with those other sheep, right? Those sheep that are kind of coming in, wandering around, mingling around. And so the first step I do is this. I have as far as engagement goes, I engage kids right off the bat, right? I just talk with them. Try to find a little bit about them. This is just first meeting, by the way. This is not what we talk about in the whole thing. This would just be like, if I did it the way with all the things that I'm going to talk about, it would be like a fire hydrant in their face. So, and partly is because I am not in a hurry. And maybe that'd be step one, is don't be in a hurry to grab up another sheep. You and I may be longing to have another kid come in our group, but I would caution against that because you don't know what kind of sheep you're getting. You don't know what this other youth group has taught them. You don't know what their view is on doctrinally. You don't know where they're at. And so a slower process is better than a quicker process. And that if we're not impatient, if we'll just be patient enough to say, you know what, I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to take it nice and slow here so that I can be able to find out whether this person is going to be a fit in our group, or whether or not they may be more trouble than they're worth, so to speak. So the first step is, look, be patient. Be patient with students, right? If they come on a first visit, maybe a second visit or a third visit, I usually wait till about the third visit to kind of find out whether or not they're kind of really interested in this group before I go and do anything, before I offer them anything, before I have a place of service for them, before any of those things. So we have a waiting period. I also look at things like, well, did they come with somebody else? Did they come with a student that's already attending our youth ministry? And then I can kind of find out some more information that way. But if they did not come with a student from our ministry, then I have to kind of do the finding out on my own. So what I'll do is, after those first 2 or 3 visits to the youth ministry, I'll then start asking them. I say, well, tell me about your previous youth pastor. What was they like? And so you find out all kinds of things, and you find out whether or not they're speaking good of them or ill of them, or maybe they have nothing to say at all about them. Maybe they were disengaged, and maybe that's why they left. But what you're going to find out is how they view the leadership that they just came from, because if they talk ill about them, that may be a clue that they might talk ill about you as well. We don't know. We're only getting one side of the story, and so we don't want to like coddle them and say, oh, you poor baby, you poor thing. We don't know the other side of the story there. So the first thing I try to find out and engage is about talk with them about their former youth pastor and what kind of relationship they may have had with them. The second thing I do is, if I know this youth pastor, if I know the church that they're from, I'll usually give them a call and say, hey man, I just want to let you know I got one of your students that have been here about 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe you could offer me some insight about them, but I want to let you know that, I'm not trying to snatch up any of your sheep or anything like that. Maybe there's a problem. Maybe there's an issue. Maybe they left mad. We don't really know. So I try to talk to the student about it. I try to call maybe the youth pastor and get some insight from them about it and find out where they're at on it. The next thing I do is I talk about I ask students, so what did you do in your youth ministry? What did you do as part of your youth group? Did you serve? Were you in the youth choir? Did you go on any trips? Kind of give them let them offer a little bit of a youth ministry history if they have one. They may not have one at all. They may have just, hung out and they just sort of attended and that was it. And partially you have to review your own philosophy, because my philosophy is I want to get a kid in. I want to know their relationship with Jesus, right? I want to know, if this case is, as far as another youth pastor, I want to know their relationship with a former youth pastor maybe. And then I want to move along to find out where their gifts, talents, and abilities lie. So it really depends on your philosophy of where you see this kid going, right? It's the adage of starting with the end in mind. In other words, when this kid comes in, where do you want to see them going in your youth ministry? Well, you won't know some of those things until you ask some questions. But by then you form an opinion. You say, okay, well, where could this kid go? Are they musically talented? Would they fit in the band? Would they, fit in those areas? So I want to make sure that they have, if they have had a good previous history and what history they've had. Where did they serve there, and where might they serve here potentially, without offering any inkling to them. I offer them nothing when they come in, because I want to see if they're committed to us as a youth ministry and be part of a relationship and things like that, or whether or not they're there just to get a gig, somewhere else and do something that they did before in another youth group. We don't really know. The next thing I try to do is this: I make sure they ended well, and I'll find this out with the youth pastor or with the student, and I try to make sure they ended well with that previous youth pastor. And if they didn't for some reason, then I try to offer them and say, look, you might want to make things right there before you start coming here. And once again, that goes back to not being desperate for another student. And if you set up your standards and parameters early of how you get students, or how you welcome or integrate new students from other youth ministries, you'll be able to find out some things, about that student, and they will know that you have standards in place to do that. For a kid to serve in our band or a very upfront ministry, it's usually about 3 months for us. I want to see them attending not only on Wednesday nights, but on Sunday mornings. And if they'll commit to that for at least those 3 months and beyond, obviously, that gives us time to kind of view them, and they got time to view me, and whether or not they want to be part of this thing. I don't want to sell them short, and I don't want to sell us short. I want to find the best place for them to be able to fit. So the last thing I look at is I talk about their callings, their giftedness, their where do they think they're gifted, where do they think they've shined, and things like that. And of course, over this 3-month period, you begin to find out some things. Of course, if they attend some events, if they attend, camp or retreat or those things, those are all great places to find out things about people before you ever offer them anything. Because if you offer them too early, you will possibly find out some things you should just didn't want to find out, and now you're like stuck. Now you've offered the thing, and now they're in, and now you got to figure out how to get them out, and it becomes a hassle. And so I would encourage you to go slow with students, right? If I were to sum it up, I would say, look, just go slow. Don't be so in a hurry to say, oh, we got to have this kid in this group, and we got to have him, and he's so talented, he's so gifted. And listen, choose character over talent. Lots of talented people, but you want people and kids that are in your youth ministry. They're going to have some character, have a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and they're going to, when they leave your youth ministry on a Wednesday night, that they're going to represent well, and those kind of things. So I don't know. How do you integrate students? And if they come from another youth group, I'd love to hear about how you're doing it. Or do you have a plan or a strategy to integrate students from other youth ministries that come in? If you have some ideas, leave me some comments down below. I would love to hear about them. Obviously, that would be great for this community to hear some other ideas from you. If you're brand spanking new, thank you for joining me today for the Mentor Me Monday. And if you'd like videos like this in your inbox, please hit the subscribe button right there, and that will get videos like this in your inbox on a weekly basis. And also, if you're a regular, thank you so much for hanging out again for another Monday with me for Mentor Me Monday. And I hope that you are having a super fantastic week. And if you have any questions or thoughts, or maybe I've not covered a topic that you'd like me to cover, please leave me a comment down below and say, Paul, what about this? I have a question. Help me out. And I'll be happy to center one of my Mentor Me Mondays or another video around that very question. So guys, thank you today for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow for the Tuesday Panic. And until then, have a great day. Bye.